Assalamu alaikum everybody. Welcome to the Hijabi Housewife channel. It's been a minute since I posted anything. There was a lot of crazy stuff that happened in my house. My laundry room flooded and that was a disaster because it was a disaster. And then I was in the process of renovating my basement, which we were doing ourselves. So there was a lot of work there. And then bam, we got hit with this COVID-19 pandemic, which has kind of taken the world by storm. We're in self-isolation right now, or some of us are quarantined. The whole world is on social distancing right now, and it's a crazy time. It's a crazy time. A lot of us have lost jobs, have got serious pay cuts. The economy is really tanking. Allahu Akbar. It's a crazy time. It's a crazy time. So with all of that in mind, I wanted to come up with some series that inshallah might help people. You know, me being a stay-at-home mom for the last 5 years, to 4 children who are 5 and under, and us being a one-income family, this is kind of my life anyway. And so inshallah I can help. If you guys need ideas on menu planning, how to do a budget, because some of you guys are, you know, some of us out here are just like, what do I do now? You know, used to a certain lifestyle, and now that requires a really quick and drastic change. So one of the things that might be changing for you is having to do work in your house that you can't hire somebody to come in for. And if you're hijabi and maybe your husband's not able to, or really if you're any woman at all, maybe you wouldn't even feel comfortable anyway hiring someone to come into your home that you don't know. So these are kind of things that are, I think, are really important for women to know how to do. Working with tools and having a toolkit. You know, it's a way for you to save money, and more importantly than that, it really does make you feel good when you do something that maybe is difficult to do, or you've lifted something or moved something that you thought was way too heavy for you and you did it. Like, listen, who has time to be waiting 6 months for a husband to move a couch? Just do it. Trust me, just do it. Or you're paying $45 an hour to pay someone to come in and put up a shelf. Are you kidding me? Save the money, do it yourself. So the first series is going to be Hijabi and A Hammer. So in this series, I guess this first little video of this series, and listen, this is real life, y'all. That's my kids screaming in the background if you hear them. They're outside. Husband's probably screaming at them to get back in the backyard because it's real out here. So if you hear screaming, everyone's okay. It's just life with children, which to anyone who's not been a stay-at-home mom, welcome. So anyways, Hijabi and A Hammer, episode 1, video 1. What do you need? Okay, so what's in a toolkit? What do you need? What's nice to have? What don't you need? I'm in no way a professional. I'm the daughter of a carpenter and a civil engineer. So I grew up watching my dad do a lot of stuff. He taught me a few things, alhamdulillah. But I am not a professional. I did not go to school for this. I don't know a lot of the names of even the tools. And guess what? It doesn't matter. Don't let that intimidate you. You can learn. You can do this. You don't need to know the names of what it's called. Doesn't matter. You need Google, which alhamdulillah they haven't shut the internet down yet. So we got that on lock. And for your instructions, you know, if someone's starting to throw out like, you need XYZ drill bit, just look it up, compare the pictures, you're good to go. But for this, I'm just gonna go over some of the things that I have in my toolkit that I found to be like essentials, like you need this. So I guess we'll start with tools. A hammer, y'all. You need a hammer. So I think this kind of goes without saying. I think everybody knows what a hammer does. Yeah, You can get them in multiple sizes. Get a medium size one or a large one, you'll be good to go. A wrench. So this you can adjust. I don't know if you can see that. This you can adjust the size of whatever it is that you need. Like, so these, if you had like a nut, they call it a bolt. If you had to like loosen something off of a pipe, you know, or something like that, that was tight. Or sometimes like if you're mounting a TV, you have like little bolts. They're circular. Okay, so, and listen, this video is mainly for my sisters. Brothers, if you wanna listen, by all means, but this is for my sisters here. You know, I'm talking to you, so it's sister language here. So it's round, so a bolt or like it would be like round and kind of like the shape of like a stop sign maybe, and you would clamp this on, tighten it from this little thingy here, you know, lady language, the thingy, you get me. You would tighten it here, from here, you just, pretty easy. You fit it on, you tighten it back to make it secure, and good to go. You can loosen it, tighten it, a wrench. Okay, then we have our class of screwdrivers. So the screwdrivers are what takes the screw and, you know, puts it in stuff. So you got this here, let me see. Okay, so I believe this guy, this is a Phillips head. So they're all basically named by the shape of what this little guy is. So this would fit into like the star tipped, let's see if I can find it here. Of course I can't find one. All of them are Robbie's. Okay, just give me 2 seconds here. Here we go. So this shape, so Phillips, it's kind of like a little star, like pointy tip. It fits in to screws that have that look like this. Okay, you see, this size is too big, but it fits in here. So this one, this is a big one. I have you can get kits that have like all of the screwdrivers in all of the different sizes. You don't need that, not right now. Just get a medium, like a medium, maybe one medium size one and like maybe one small one, and for most of your projects you're good to go. But Phillips head is like pretty necessary. And then the next most popular one I would say would be this guy, which is like a square tip, which I believe is a Robbie. Don't quote me on this, the square one, okay? You want one that has a square tip. This one's small, but just for an example, it would fit when you have a screw that looks like this. You see how that opening is a square? So you wanna just match your screw to the screwdriver, and then you're good to go. There's another one. Now this one I haven't used very much, to be quite honest, but you know, it doesn't hurt to have it in your arsenal of supplies. But this is not like, this one isn't super necessary. Phillips and the Robbie for sure are. Then you have one that looks like this. So you see the ridges. I don't know if my camera's gonna focus. Anyway, it's kind of similar to the Phillips, where it kind of looks like a star shape, but then it's flat on the top. Don't ask me what this guy's name is. We can make one up. Some kind of marriage between a Phillips and a Robbie. I haven't really used it that often. Then, just an example. This is an example of like a little baby Phillips. Don't really need it. Medium and large is fine. So then you have this guy here, flat tip with fuzz on it, real life, flat tip one. And a lot of your like wall, if you wanted to change a wall plate, so on your sockets, you know, that like plastic part that keeps you from zapping yourself and killing your children, if that's broken and you need to change one out, most of the screws for that are flat. I don't have an example of that right now, but yeah, the screw just has like a little line on it, which means you need something like this to unscrew it or screw it. But real talk, a butter knife, if you're in a pinch, a butter knife works. But it'll take you longer, and there'll probably be significantly more profanity in your project. So if you just have one of these guys, these are also a pretty popular thing to use. So get one. Then you have pliers. You have pliers and wire cutters. So these, and they kind of look the same, you know, like if you don't know, if you're out shopping and you don't know, they kind of look the same. Pliers are this, like this, okay? And in the back, it has like a hole. So if they're like particularly challenging things, or things with like a little knob or something at the top that you need to like rip out, pliers. Also too, like you can get different sizes of these as well. So I would say maybe get like a medium-ish large one, and then a little mini small one. Particularly for women, at least in my experience, if you don't have maybe a whole lot of strength to pull out like a screw or a nail, or I don't know, sometimes like little plastic doohickeys get stuck in your, you put something in the wrong hole, or that's happened to me. You have to yank it out and you can't get your fingers in, and or you don't have the strength to pull it out. The pliers will help you. And then wire cutters, which look like this. So if you don't really know what you're doing, maybe like, I mean, I don't want to stereotype it, ladies. You know, ladies, you hear me on this. So they kind of look similar, okay? But these are wire cutters, and they're much sharper. These guys are like flat on the inside and have little grooves. So just make sure you're not getting like two wire cutters, or if you want wire cutters, that you're not picking up pliers. lost what they were called. The things that pull stuff out. Yeah, wire cutters are good. I don't know if you're doing any projects that require you to measure like wire, or not twine. It's like chicken coop stuff. You know what I mean? Like, let's say you want to build your own little garden wall out of wood and chicken coop, and you have to cut it, like that kind of stuff will help you out. This, we need a drill. So those were the hand tools that I think, at least in my experience, were pretty useful for me. This guy is like a non-negotiable, some kind of power drill. This one is an 18 volts, and it is it's cordless. You can get ones that have a cord to them, and I think they might be a little bit cheaper, but really, like, a cordless one is really the way you should be going. It'll really make your life easier, and especially if you're not like super good at this stuff, or you're learning, it can be a little bit frustrating at the beginning. So you want to try to make it easy, as easy on yourself as possible, and a cordless drill really does help. So this is the battery pack. It comes with a charge a little charge station that you connect it, and then you plug it in the wall, wait till the light turns green, and then you just connect it, and you're good to go. So these will really help you and are essential in really anything and everything. So it will make, if you're building furniture, putting together furniture, taking stuff apart, using a power drill will cut your time in half or more. Or particularly women, for women, if we don't have the strength, so my husband can use a screwdriver to screw something into the wall, or my dad can, but me, I can't. I don't have the arm strength to do that, so the power drill helps me a lot. Also, like with when you're drilling into a stud in the wall, which if you're like, slow your roll, Sarah, what's a stud? We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there, don't worry. But if you're drilling into wood, or trying to like hang stuff or do curtains, or like a shelf or something like that, a power drill, you need to first drill a hole and then screw the screw in. So your power drill will really is really important. Now, there are different kinds of drills. There's this kind of just like regular power drill. I think it's called just a power drill. And then there's something called a hammer drill. A hammer drill is for when you are trying to drill into concrete or like masonry, so like bricks and stones, like those slabs, or anything that's like super hard. This won't do that. How do you know if you have a concrete wall? If you're trying to drill and your screw is just not going in, it could very well be that you have a concrete wall. Also, if you live in a townhome, usually the walls that separate the two, like separate you from your neighbor, are typically, I think, concrete for fire, like the fire rating. So if there's a fire in your house or your neighbor's house, God forbid, that it doesn't like torch the whole unit. If you're in a single dwelling house, and I think that's usually the same with apartments too. If you're in just a regular house, how can you tell if it's concrete? I'm not sure. It'll be hard as hell. And also too, like I said, if you're trying to drill and you're just the screw, like you're finding the screw is just not going in, then most likely you've hit concrete and you need a hammer drill to do that. But I don't really think hammer drills are necessary. They're nice to have, but you don't need it 100%. But this guy, really good to have. Usually, and sometimes you can get packs of this. So you'll see, you can change the bits on it. You just kind of like unscrew it, and then you have little bits like this. So it'll come sometimes in a kit, but if it doesn't, you have to get them. The different size bits to fit all the different screws or the things that you need. So you have ones that look like this, and usually they comes in a pack like this, or maybe a small pack like something like this. See all those different kind of screw heads. So depending on what you need, you just fit it into your drill, and you're good to go for basically almost any screw that you need. So you have something like that, and then you also have this. So these are for drilling holes. These are for screwing the screws in. So before you drill, before you attempt to try to screw a hole into the wall, you need to pre-drill, to do a pilot hole first. We'll also get into all of that. Don't worry about that for now. All you need to know right now is power drill, get one, and then get your drill bit, your sets of drill bits. Bits for screwing in and bits for drilling holes. So, okay, we have our tools. Now, what about screws, right? You need a variety of screws. And you're like, okay, a screw's a screw. No, there are umpteen different kinds of screws. So for example, you'll go to the hardware store, you'll see an entire wall full of boxes of screws, loose screws, and you're like, oh my God, I'll just close my eyes and pick one. Don't. Unless you know what you're doing. Ask the person at the hardware store. Let him or her know what your project is, that you're looking for screws, and they'll be able to help you. But, or look it up online, or your, I don't know what they call, like in sewing it would be a pattern that would tell you. For projects or woodworking, I don't know what it's called. If anybody knows what that's called, that would, like, instructions, drafted, I don't know, a plan. Anyways, if you have instructions for something that you want to do, most likely it will tell you what kind of screws you need. So if you have an idea of the kind of screws you need, again, if you don't, ask somebody, because it's like a whole new world. Really, it's a whole new world. I learned the hard way. So a pack of screws might look like this. This is backwards. I'm also not very good with technology, so we will get there. Anyway, yeah. So, anyways, up at the top, it'll tell you like how many are in there, what's it called, flat socket head, and the size. So this is an 8 by 1.5 inch, 8 inches by 1.5 inches. No, what is that? Who knows? 8 by 1.5 something or other is the size. So I just want to pause here, because you can see very clearly I am not any kind of a professional, and I barely know what I'm doing. So some of you might be like, okay, I'm ending this video here because this woman is going to have me kill myself, doing things that I shouldn't be doing. Don't worry about it. And that's the whole point of this, you guys, is that we can take things on and we can learn and we can forge and move ahead and not panic. We are capable. We are more capable than we know. And don't be afraid of learning something new or taking on a new challenge if you don't know anything about it. And obviously you have to be safe. Okay, so I wouldn't advise anybody to do anything with electricity. Don't do anything with plumbing. Those things leave to the pros. But knowing if this is inches or centimeters, clearly it's not inches, but I don't know what I just know that's the size. That's all I know. And that's all I need to know, and that's all that matters. And you can be a woman and not know very much, or a man and not know very much, and still be able to take care of yourself and to do things to empower yourself. It doesn't matter. You don't have to be professional. You don't have to be perfect at it. And you don't need to be an expert in order to share with your brother or your sister what you know. That's it. So after that, we have what kind of screws they are. So this says here wood screws. Okay, so that tells you that these are screws for wood. That's pretty self-explanatory, I think. For an example, we have another one here. It says flat socket. It says 6 5/8. So this is obviously, I don't, like which one is smaller. Obviously this one is smaller. These are smaller screws. But again, these also say wood screws. Now these ones tell us that we need a round socket head, or that it is a round socket head. So you see how though the tip there, it's rounded, whereas these ones, you know, they're flat. I mean, this is not difficult. It's pretty self-explanatory once you kind of start getting rolling with it. So don't be too afraid. But you'll see here that this says particle board. So if you, like, these are screws for particle board. So if you're drilling into the stud, and the same, you'll have something that says drywall screws. Okay, so if you're drilling just into the drywall of your wall, and you're not drilling into the piece of wood that the frame of the wall is on, or that that is the wall frame, then you would have something called drywall screws. So it's, you know, it can be pretty self-explanatory, but again, if you have a project and you're doing something and you don't know, you just go to Home Depot and you let the person know what it is that you're wanting to do, that you need screws, and they'll help you. Just ask. So also with screws, we talked about studs a little bit and drilling into them. The reason why you would drill into a stud is because if you're hanging something really heavy, if you drill it just into drywall, that thing is going to come down quicker than I don't know what. Like drywall will only, like, it's not secure when you drill it in, okay? So like if you drill your curtain rod into drywall and not into the stud, into the wood, then any kind of little yank or the kids playing with the curtains, it'll rip them right down. Whereas if they're drilled into the stud, they'll be pretty secure. This is the same thing with like mounting a TV. You don't want to mount your TV, you need to make sure that you're drilling into the wood and not the drywall. So in the event that you have something that doesn't, and there are some things that do require you to drill into the stud. Some things don't. And if you're just drilling into the drywall, then you can have something called an anchor with your screw. Anchors look like this, and you can get them in different sizes, different lengths. On your package, sometimes screws will come with anchors, and on the package it'll tell you how much weight that anchor will hold. So some of them I've seen up to 75 pounds. Some of them are just like 5 pounds. So if you have a curtain rod and you can't get it into your stud for whatever reason, you can use an anchor, and you just make sure that the weight is appropriate. So that would be another one that I would have kind of in my arsenal, would be a couple packs of these anchors, different varying weights. So that covers that. Other good things that I don't have on me right now, I don't know where it is, but a stud finder. So it's a little thing, battery operated thing, that you basically like slide along your wall, and it'll help you detect where the stud is. So and it'll help you to detect like if it's center, like the stud, are you in the center, are you on the edge? Those are things that are important. There are ways to find studs without a stud finder. Those ones require, I think, a little bit more expertise, and it can also put holes in your wall. that method of using a finishing nail, knocking, and using a finishing nail, because sometimes when people have constructed your wall, they didn't space the studs appropriately, so it can be off and then make a mess of your wall. So a stud finder, they're not that expensive. You can get them anywhere from like $15 to $20, and it's a pretty good investment. And then you can always double check, because my dad is always like, stud finders aren't always accurate and whatever, it's good to know this way. So you can get your stud finder and then just double check with the finishing screw, but I'm not even going to go into that. Get a stud finder and a level. So it looks like a level kind of looks like a ruler that has little, if a ruler was see-through and didn't have anything like in the middle, it was just like a long rectangular shape. And then it has like little cylinders of like liquid in the center. Usually it's green. What that is used for is so when you are hanging something on the wall, or maybe you're doing something on the floor, or you need something to make sure that the project that you're working on is level. That's what that's for. It helps to make sure that you're even and not wobbly. If I can show you. So I put this up, and I didn't have a level at the time. And so it's just, I don't know if you can see it. It's just slightly, slightly slanted, like kind of, it's not exactly level, because it's really like without a level, it can be a little bit difficult, and I was in a rush and didn't really care. But with a level, you'll avoid that. Then you need a tape measure, really important, and a pencil. So pencils you need to be able to mark your spaces on the wall, or jot down measurements, all of those things. Mark on wood, and pencils, or if you're doing like drywalling, you can mark the places that need to be either sanded or mudded, and it won't bleed through the paint. If you use a pen or you use like a crayon or something like that, it's going to mess up your whole life with your walls and the paint, and it's going to bleed through, and it's going to be a mess. So, a pencil. I'm trying to think if I'm leaving out anything. If anybody who's watching this has any experience and anything to add, leave it in the comments below if I've missed or severely screwed up on anything. But I'm just trying to share from my experience of doing my own stuff in my house, of painting and mudding and moving furniture all over Hell's Creation. And having to put up shelves and curtains and things like that because my husband, mashallah, doesn't play those games. So it just means that I learned. Yeah, so again, I'm not any kind of a professional. I didn't go to school for this, but I just wanted to empower particularly the hijabi sisters that that don't let your hijab, or I wear an abaya and a hijab that's long, and still I go to the store and haul heavy stuff out and load it into my van. I mean, or I do the work in my house or that needs to be done, and alhamdulillah, don't let it deter you, or put that furniture together. My God, I put together a bunk bed from IKEA. You guys, it was hell on earth. Okay, I don't know if anybody has put together a bunk bed from IKEA, or what kind of joke the people at IKEA are trying to play on the entire world, but let me tell you, it is 2 boxes of wood, varying sizes, and a cartoon picture of what to do. God. And you're supposed to have 2 people to put it together. It was just me, myself, and I. And it was awful, every minute of it. But at the end, it was like, yes, there was this feeling of empowerment. And so, like putting makeup on, or doing our hair, or all of those things that kind of women tend to flock towards to do, to give themselves a confidence boost or to make themselves feel better. It's not the only way, you know. This kind of work that's particularly challenging or society has kind of told us is not for us. If you do it, it really, really does make you feel like, yes, you know, look what I did, mashallah. And I think we're in a time right now where we could all kind of maybe use that a little bit, and maybe we're struggling, and apart from our spiritual growth and ensuring that we're maintaining a connection with Allah, we have to make sure that we're doing what we can to kind of keep ourselves afloat, and in any ways that we can maybe cut costs or learn something new or take on a challenge and be able to come out on the other side will really help, I think, with our mental health, our feeling of capacity, and in times like these I think that's important. So inshallah, in this series I'll post we'll go on through some of the like little basics that I know about, let's say, painting, how to patch a hole, what is a stud. It's not a husband. It's not a man. How to find it, how to, you know, how do you put something up on your wall. And I have a few projects in my house that I have to do, and maybe I can take you guys along with that. We can do it together. Please leave some comments below if there's anything that you want to add to this. Let's start a sisterhood of helping each other, inshallah. And yeah, if there's anything you have questions about, I can try my best, you know, to answer them or figure it out, and we can do videos. So apart from the Hijabi and A Hammer series, inshallah, I plan to again maybe share some things that I know about sewing. Again, I'm not an expert. I just got mad one day and decided to learn. Now I make my own clothes, alhamdulillah. Cooking, I did not know anything about cooking, but our budget got cut pretty significantly, so guess what, I had to learn real quick, and alhamdulillah, it turned out to be awesome and a real money saver. So those are some things, inshallah, that I'll start doing series on, to try to help everybody who's maybe kind of thrown in this position of having to be really frugal now, or be a stay-at-home mom, stay-at-home wife, how to get through it. So again, if you guys have any ideas or any kind of requests, let me know in the comments below, and we'll see you soon, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum. Stay safe and stay sane, inshallah.